Zip up your members-only jacket, crack open a tab, and pause your Walkman as we bring you to the 1980s.
Welcome to the 80s Show podcast, where we talk about all things 1980s, from movies to TV shows, music and stars, fads and fashions. We'll talk about anything and everything to do with the 1980s.
The 1980s, the best decade in decades.
That's right. Alongside my good friend Damian Raffelli, my name is Bill Lassiter. Welcome to the 80s Show podcast as we take a trip back in time to talk about the best decade in decades. Right, Damian?
Yeah, let's talk more about the 80s. We've got some exciting segments coming up for this episode.
That's right. So we're going to start off with talking about the two Corys. Now, in case nobody knows, it is Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, not Corey Johnson. I just made that name up right now. Yeah. I don't know if anybody's named Corey Johnson out there, but not him. We're also going to be talking about the 1980s one-hit wonders. A lot of great music from the 1980s, but there were several one-hit wonders for one, a band that just had one big hit, right?
I think it was a decade of one-hit wonders.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. And we're going to finish it off with a little segment about Magnum P.I. versus Michael Knight of Knight Rider.
That's right. That's going to be a fun one. And, it's going to be tough because those are both great TV shows and both great characters.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're both great, just 80s iconic, figures, both David Hasselhoff and Tom Selleck, right?
Yeah. It's a mustache versus the perm.
Yeah. I think we should name the segment that, right?
Exactly.
Mustache versus the perm. All right. So we've got some 80s news to report to you. Damian, go ahead and kick us off.
It's just a little bit of an update. We talked about this a little while ago, and we actually covered Miami Vice as well. And we talked about that there's another reboot movie coming up. Right. And there's a release date, so this is getting even more serious.
Oh, okay.
We talked about before that there was the Gen Xer Joseph Kosinski was attached to this, and he's also did Top Gun Maverick. Yeah. And recently the F1 movie.
Which was great. Both of them are great movies.
Heard that was really good. And the release date's going to be in summer of 2027, so in August 2027.
Oh, wow. So a couple years, from when we're recording right now.
Yeah, a little less than 2 years. But I think the fact that they're giving it a summer release date means they're going to put some money into it. So it might be like a summer tentpole movie. Yeah. They're not going to dump it right before the end of the year and the holidays.
Right.
So that means it's probably going to have a good budget. And so Bill and I have been talking about who is going to be cast, right? Who do you think is going to be Crockett?
Yeah, so what I heard was, too, about this was that it's going to be inspired by the first season of Miami Vice, which we've seen some episodes of it. It's just classic 80s. We've talked about it in previous podcasts, but
the pilot was like a movie.
Pilot was like a movie. Yeah, it was fantastic. And so, so we were talking about who could be Crockett and Tubbs. Damian, who do you think should play Tubbs?
Well, I believe that C. Thomas Howell should revisit his Soul Man character and play Tubbs.
Here we go. All right, so
it could actually be Soul Man 2.
Soul Man 2, even whiter. Okay. All right. So there's your call for Tubbs. Okay. So then here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say Crockett should be played by Dwayne Johnson. And I mean, he's a Miami guy, right?
He is.
And so,
and you know who we're going to get then for Tubbs would be Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson. That would, it is. They've had movie magic before, right?
Yeah, they did that Central Intelligence movie, which is pretty funny, and they've done a lot of other, Jumanji and some stuff. Yeah. I'm hoping this will be a little more serious. So I don't think Kevin Hart would get it, but I could see, to be honest with you, Brad Pitt being Crockett, especially since
I could see
Kosinski just did a movie with Brad Pitt.
The thing is, though, Brad Pitt,
he's a little bit older.
Yes, he's a little bit older, but he does play a young man, whatever. But I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, or it could be like Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill. We could see being Crockett, right?
That would be very interesting, and would be like 21 Jump Street-esque. You know what I'm saying?
But more importantly, who's going to play Elvis the alligator?
Good question. I'm not going to comment on that because if I say something inappropriate, people are going to say, "Oh, you're calling this person a reptile," right?
Yeah. As we know, the reptilians live inside the Earth, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, but Sleesacks back from Land of the Lost back in the day. So,
so what else do we have in the 80s ish news?
Yeah, so right now there is a This Is Spinal Tap sequel that's out in theaters, and it'll probably be streaming at some point in the future. So this is the sequel to the 1984 movie Spinal Tap, or This Is Spinal Tap, starring Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, Harry Shearer, Rob Reiner.
A cult classic, by the way.
Yeah, it is a cult classic. And so right now there's a sequel out there, and it is called This Is Spinal Tap 2: The End Continues, which sounds pretty funny, right?
Does this one go to 11?
I think it does. I think it does. The best part about it is so the thing is, like, This Is Spinal Tap came out in 1984. And it was really the first, I don't know if it was the first, but one of the first main mockumentary style movies or TV shows out there, of course.
It's the first one I can remember.
Yeah, it's the first one I can remember as well, where the actors are playing, characters in the movie and stuff like that. And it kind of, from what I read, it really inspired, Sacha Baron Cohen with Borat and Bruno. It was an inspiration for The Office, which is probably one of the most famous mockumentaries out there right now, and Parks and Rec and all that kind of stuff. Conan O'Brien even said on his podcast that it guided him into his brand of comedy. The first movie was great. It was making fun of the 80s rock bands, including my favorite 80s rock band, which we all know is Van Halen. There's a whole segment about Van Halen had on their rider that no brown M&Ms in their bowl, and there's a whole scene in This Is Spinal Tap about deli meats, in the back room. So yeah, This Is Spinal Tap 2: The End Continues is out in theaters right now, and I'm sure it'll be on streaming sometime quickly in the future.
Like yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so, I love mockumentaries. I saw one on the moon landing as well.
Are you saying the moon landing was a mockumentary?
Oh, we know that was all fake. Come on.
Of course.
How many times have we seen Buzz Aldrin speak?
We've seen him once, at least, in person.
One of the times I was at work, but there was one of our college alumni meetings, where we were right up front and he was speaking in.
Yes. Yeah. We were sitting at his table. We sat with Buzz Aldrin. But anyway.
He seems like he's seen lot of things, but probably induced from...
Wow. No. Yeah, he was
no, he's sober apparently now.
Yeah, he was interesting.
We were the only ones not giving him a standing ovation for being sober. So
There you go. So we do have some errors, omissions, listener feedback, Damien. We did send our researchers out there into the wild to find out some information about our previous episode.
This was a tough one too. We had to figure out what C stood for C. Thomas Howell.
Yeah.
And embarrassingly, it stands for Christopher.
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be Cletus or something like that. He didn't want to be called, but no, it's just Christopher.
Or just a random initial he made up because somebody had a similar name. Yeah. It just sounded cool. But
So C. Thomas Howell is actually Christopher Thomas Howell, the old CTH. I think that's how you say that. No, TCH. Dang it. All right. All right. So, of course, you can always email us at 80showpodcast@gmail.com. We're at 80showpodcast at all the socials, and 80s.show is our website. Please rate us on whatever podcast app that you have. We would love to have a 5-star rating from you, and we would love to hear from you if you have any questions or, concerns about the podcast. We'd love to hear from you.
And we have another sponsor now. We have an exciting new sponsor coming up, Photomat.
Oh, I am so excited about this, Damien, because Photomat is America's drive-through photo processing booth.
Photomat, we get the colors right.
Cheers for the red, white, and purple.
When you get your pictures back, do the colors ever surprise you?
Oh, the green rose of Texas.
Don't blame yourself. It could be the processing. At Photomat, we get the colors right. Our computers check every picture at 121 points. Then our master checker checks it again.
Oh, the yellow rose of Texas.
For colors the way you remember them.
Oh, yeah.
Take your pictures to Photomat. It could be the most important part of taking your pictures.
Our first segment here on the 80 Show podcast is called The Two Coreys, and we're specifically talking about Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, which, you know, we all know as the two Coreys, right, from the 1980s, Damien.
But they were actually born distinctly separate Coreys.
Were they?
They're not twins, believe it or not. Yeah.
What? Okay. So the two Coreys, you know, we're going to get to their story about being in some movies together and stuff like that. But let's take it back to the origin stories of our heroes here, Damien.
Yeah, and of course, they're both Gen Xers. They were both born in 1971. So, interestingly, they have the first same name, which I believe were their true names from my research. They're not just like acting names, right?
Names,
stage names. Yeah. And so they were born within a few months, like 5 months of each other. One was born July, one was born December.
Okay.
Corey Haim was born in the Toronto, Ontario area.
Right.
And Corey Feldman was born in the LA area.
Yeah. And so they were both, child actors at an early age. In fact, even Corey Feldman started his acting career at age 3, which that's crazy.
Yeah, right? I saw the commercial, and we'll post that on the show notes and also on our Instagram account. He is so little. Oh my God, he's really cute, actually.
Yeah, so he was in a McDonald's commercial at age 3, and then of course.
So was this before he did drugs?
Well, I'm not sure if my research dug that up, but at some point he did do drugs, which we will talk about, Damien. But
I can't tell if he was high in that commercial. I'm going to rewatch that commercial and see if he was already high.
Check his pupils.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So, Corey Haim also began acting at a young age as well.
Yeah, he did commercials, the same thing. And he was like 9 years old when he started.
Yeah.
He was a late bloomer compared to Feldman.
Yeah. And so they did some, acting when in kids' roles. Corey Feldman had a couple of starring roles, of course, in Gremlins in 1984. He was also in Goonies, which was one of my favorite movies.
Yes, we had 2 Spielberg movies right off the bat for him.
And actually one of, I think, like one of my all-time favorite movies is Stand By Me in 1986. Corey Feldman was
with
in.
Will Wheaton.
Yeah, with Will, like just such a great, I just love that movie, But then they actually came together and met on the set of The Lost Boys.
Notice anything unusual about Santa Carla yet?
No. It's a pretty cool place. If you're a Martian.
Or a vampire.
Another classic movie. So Lost Boys came out in 1987 with another stellar cast of 80s classics.
Absolutely.
Kiefer Sutherland. I mean, there's a whole list of people. But more importantly, that's where the two Coreys became friends. And right before, as they were both casted, it was Haim reached out to Feldman, and he knew they were going to be in the movies together. And I think because Feldman had more movies to his career before then, because Haim he'd only done Lucas, which was a big role with Charlie Sheen and stuff, but Feldman even though they were the same age, had much more of a background acting. But they realized they had a ton of stuff in common, and this was even before the filming. And I think that's
their names were in common.
Exactly.
So there you go.
And they both loved drugs, apparently, which we'll find out.
We'll get to that in a second.
But I think that's what gave them the chemistry. And man, Lost Boys was such a great man.
Oh yeah. So this is a great story. I was just telling Damien this story. So Lost Boys, great movie. Vampires, Santa Cruz. They're fighting each other. There's just a lot at stake. It's just a fantastic movie. Fast forward to early 2000s, and a friend of mine recommends a book to me. And says, "Hey, this is a vampire book," and I'm like,
"So Anne Rice, something good like that."
Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, great! I love The Lost Boys. Like, it's great." And this is pre-movies. I just want everybody to know that. And so I'm reading this book, and it's about vampires, and it's dragging on a little bit about a love story, and he smells so good, and she smells so good, and all this stuff. And there's going to be this big fight with some vampires at the end, and then the main character like passes out, so you don't know if what happened in the fight or whatever, and then the end. And I literally took the book and threw it across my room because I was so pissed off that I spent that much time reading a book about some sort of vampire romance. That book was called Twilight. So my friend who recommended the book, you know who you are. I'm still pissed at you all these years later.
And they're still a friend.
They're still a friend. And
spoiler, the movies were even worse. The
there you go. There you go.
We're going to probably lose some listeners for that one.
Yeah,
but yeah,
hey,
controversial.
I'm fine with that because it was a terrible book.
But hey, if any of our listeners have not seen Lost Boys and you like vampire movies, Lost Boys is a great.
It's just a great thriller, fun movie.
Amazing director.
Actually, Corey Feldman and Corey Haim in that movie. Haim.
I say Haim or Haim. I don't know. I'm probably saying them both.
Yeah, I'm seeing them both. But anyway, so
it's like Hyman, maybe Haim.
Yeah. Wow. There we go. Anyway, the movie itself, both of the Coreys kind of play, like Corey Feldman especially plays kind of a comic relief type character. They're not the main characters in the movie, right? Like they kind of play a little comic relief.
My own brother, a goddamn sucking vampire. Oh, you wait till mom finds out, buddy.
Yeah, and just speaking of Haim, I have a kind of little funny anecdote that I was reading about. And so he was in a film. It was a thriller in '84 called Firstborn. I'd never seen it before, but he played obviously a child in that one, and Peter Weller from RoboCop fame.
Oh yeah,
a few other movies obviously as well. And so Peter Weller was the violent boyfriend of the mother that Haim played the child of. And so after they did some shooting and after a particularly good scene, Haim being just a young kid, he just like went up to compliment Weller. And Weller apparently is a method actor, and he literally threw Haim up against a wall and told Haim never to speak to him again after a take. And there was said there was at least 3 assistants that had to pull Peter Weller. This is abuse, right? Had to pull Weller off of him.
Oh my God.
And Haim said, he was like obviously terrified by this whole experience.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So being a child actor in the 80s and prior was probably no fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So you wonder why they ended up on drugs.
Well, yeah.
An adult assaulting you.
Yeah, exactly.
And Peter Weller's a little bit of a scary looking guy too.
For sure. I would not.
Plays a good villain. He's obviously played RoboCop. Well, RoboCop was a little bit of a villain too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And of course, so after Lost Boys, it went on to do the next year License to Drive, which I think is both one of our favorite movies just because the age we were at the time that the movie came out and stuff like that.
Dean, can't help wondering, is it ever going to get that good for me?
Anderson, the only difference between you and that greaseball is that he has a license and you don't.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite movies from that era. I was 15 in 1988 when this came out, so I was getting close to getting my license. And I remember my brother and I went to go see this in the theater, and I just remember, first of all, it's funny as hell, right? It was a great movie. Yeah. It was so funny, but at that age, it was perfect. Just
absolutely.
You're just starting to think about learning how to drive and getting close to getting your learner's permit and all that. And that's one of the things I just love. I would say together, other than, Lost Boys is a great movie, but they weren't the only stars in that movie, right?
Yeah, no, they were not.
But I would say for the 80s, especially them as the lead actors, License to Drive was their best movie, in my opinion.
I would agree with the two of them, right? Now, so let me ask you this, Damien. So do you remember the name of the girl, the love interest in License to Drive?
Oh, man.
The name of the character, I'm saying.
No, the one that's passed out in the back scene or whatever.
Yeah, so the girl's name was Mercedes.
I don't need the BMW anymore. I already have a Mercedes.
It's a whole car theme like that. So
yeah, they went hard on that car theme.
Yeah. So,
but remember at that age, that's the only thing you're thinking about.
Oh, absolutely.
And nowadays, these kids that get licensed at 21, they don't really care.
No, I got my driver's license on my 16th birthday just so I can get out. Just so I can get away.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to learn how to drive.
And so they had some. So they both had other movies that they did like separate from each other.
Yeah, have you seen Dream a Little Dream they did together too? Just really want to touch on this one.
Yeah,
I have not seen this one. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen that one. We were just earlier today. We were watching the trailer for it, and it's
so you hadn't seen that one before. Okay,
I don't remember seeing it. I may have, but I don't remember it. But it's like a classic body switch situation.
Feldman and the girl switch things. Yeah, those body switch movies are always kind of weird to me.
Yeah. And then of course they went on to do some other movies and stuff like that. And they were in a total of 8 movies together, Damien.
Yeah, that's a lot. And at least 4 of them were good, or 3 of them were good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the movies that Corey Feldman did, I really like. Gremlins, Lost Boys.
I was talking about the ones they did together.
Stand By Me and stuff like that. Goonies, of course. But the ones that they did together, they're okay.
Yeah, there
fun.
were some in the 90s I'd never heard of, except for I think Blown Away was the only one I'd ever watched.
Yeah.
And they sadly did a reboot of The Lost Boys, which I didn't know. And we watched that trailer too. And it looked it was like 2008. It looked like direct to video or made for TV.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
For sure, we would say direct to streaming now. Yeah. We would not say direct to video.
Yeah, but it would be on like a free channel, not one of the good ones, not a premium channel. It was that bad.
Yeah, it did not look good.
And they were in a reality show together as well. I remember hearing about this, but I never really watched it
either. Yeah. So the Two Coreys was
aptly named the Two Coreys.
A&E show back in 2007, 2008. Just to see what they were doing.
Well, the plot of that one, I did watch a little bit about it, and I remember when it came out reading about it as well, just because it was 80s stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just not a big fan of reality show TV, other than Jersey Shore. But
okay,
we've got a situation here. But the whole plot of the Two Coreys, again, reality TV. They're still plots, not reality. Yeah. But so Haim moved in with Feldman and Feldman's wife. So Haim was trying to reboot his career after heavy drug use, and he was they both had drug addiction and problems. And from what I read is that when Haim was I guess he was 14 or 15, that's when he began drinking on the set of Lucas. Man. So, but he had a good influence like Charlie Sheen there, which is odd that he did stuff like that.
He was drinking straight tiger blood.
Exactly. So it was basically about him trying to rehab his career, trying to get sober, and trying to rebuild his life. Yeah. And unfortunately, he passed away in 2010 from pneumonia, so it didn't really work out. And I think there was complications from some of his drug use.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about this too much, but I think a lot of their drug use too is there was a lot of allegations of child abuse,
right?
From family, but also from Hollywood people, and I think that led to their drug use. And in fact, Feldman emancipated himself at 15 from his parents.
I didn't realize that. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And
he said, from something I read, he claims that, at this time, which I believe because he had been in some big movies by this time, Goonies and Gremlins and all that, he claims he had earned over $1 million, but by the time he emancipated himself from his parents, he only had $40,000 left.
Oh, wow.
And there was a lot of allegations there.
Interesting.
They've done so much in the 80s. I mean, even Feldman, we're talking about him being a kid. He did like a guest stars on Mork and Mindy, Alice, 8 is Enough, One Day at a Time, Love Boat, Cheers. Some of those were in the 70s, but 80s as well. And those are some of he did a lot of stuff. I mean, he was as a child.
He went to the bar at Cheers, like
he was probably drinking. He was probably doing lines off the bar and stuff. Yeah.
Hey, cocaine drives the 80s, right? So Corey Feldman, obviously, as Damien said, Corey Haim passed away in 2010. And Corey Feldman went on to continue to act
in Nothing I've Seen.
Yep, Nothing I've Seen is the name of the movie. Oh no, Nothing We've Seen. Yes, Nothing We've Seen. Yeah,
in music, which I've not heard.
So apparently, Corey Feldman has 6 studio albums, Damien.
He's got some different style. I listened to a few of them on Spotify and saw a few videos on YouTube. He's got a little bit of, had some that were like a little rockabilly and very interesting style. I saw one where recently I was on TikTok and his shirt was off and sometimes at our age, you probably should just leave the shirt on.
Yeah, just leave it on. It's fine. Especially if you're not tan, right? Like, it looked pretty pasty, like in the video.
Or if you haven't worked out in 10, 20 years,
And currently, right now, as we are recording this, Corey Feldman is on Dancing with the Stars. I don't even know if that's on a regular TV channel. I think
it's
on
ABC or something.
Okay, and so he is.
So since he's a musician, he must be doing really well, right? He probably is the lead right now. I'm assuming.
So apparently, according to our latest researchers who researched this, he got a score of 9 out of 20 on his dance.
9 out of 10 would be great.
9 out of 10 would be fantastic. And he was in tie for last place. So poor Corey Feldman.
In tie for last place with Andy Richter.
Andy Richter, who I
makes it worse.
I love Andy Richter, but dancer is not what I think about when I think about Andy Richter.
Yeah, so if you like Corey Feldman, so this just premiered, right? So go watch him on Dancing with the Stars. I'm not a fan of those dancing shows, but I know a lot of people are.
And he was pulling off the Eminem blonde bleach blonde.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Right?
Yeah. And I guess he was on Masked Singer or something too. He's done a few of those kind of things.
Gosh, yeah. So anyway, we'll just. If you have any memories of the Coreys...
Well, before we wrap up, I do want to talk about that they were major... Because, again, we're guys, so we're missing this part of it. There were major heartbeats, in...
Oh, yeah.
Our heartthrobs.
I did want to say
there
that.
were heartthrobs in the 80s. And we did reach out to some of our friends who are female that grew up in the 80s. And we asked...
We have female friends?
Yeah, well, I do.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly... Wow. Overwhelmingly, Haim was the favorite.
Yes.
And, he was on Tiger Beat, Bob, all these things. I remember, like, my friends or, whatever family, they would have him, not me, of course, have him postered. Slapped up on their walls.
Yeah.
And so,
no, not you, for sure.
But they were also not just actors. They were just, especially, I think Haim was, I read an article about when Haim was very young and, I think it was in Vegas, and they just called him up on stage or something, and all these teenage, preteen girls rushed the stage, and they had to have security take him off. It was that kind of crazy, almost like remember we talked about Johnny Depp having that same experience. Yeah. So I'd also love to hear from our listeners. Which was your favorite Corey?
And Corey Feldman was always played kind of weird characters too, right? Yeah. Like Gremlins, Goonies, and Stand By Me. He was like the outcast. Even Lost Boys, he was kind of the weirdo.
Yeah, he wasn't the hot guy.
He wasn't in.
In the Dream, A Little Dream, he had this like stringy, greasy hair. It didn't look
in the 80s. I may have had a similar haircut, but anyway, So we'd love to hear from you. Which was your favorite Corey and why? You can hit us up on all the 80 Show Podcast socials and 80showpodcast@gmail.com.
Next up is our 1980s music segment, One Hit Wonders.
That's right, Damien. So we're going to talk about the top 10 1980s one-hit wonders. And I know you love 80s music, right?
I do, just don't know much about it.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, so so Damien doesn't know a ton about 80s music, but you've heard 80s music and songs. And
I listen to it all the time. Yeah. Since as an adult, I listen to lots of 80s music.
Yeah, so we're gonna find out whether Damien has heard of these bands, and I'm gonna talk about the top 10 one-hit wonders. So, Damien, let me just ask you a couple of bands here. So, Kajagoogoo. Heard of them?
Sounds familiar, but I couldn't.
Kajagoogoo. Okay.
I'm thinking of somebody else.
It sounds like something I just made up because it is.
I was thinking with the Goo Goo Dolls or something like that.
It is. Okay. No, it's not actually. Okay. Actually, a real band. Tony Basil.
Can't place that. No.
Soft Cell.
No.
Okay. So this is going to be fantastic. Okay.
It should be a fun segment for the listeners, yeah.
So, all right. So, Damien, I'm just going to go 10 to 1, right? The top 10 one-hit wonders from the 1980s. I'm going to say the band name, see if you have heard of them, and then tell you the name of the song and see if you've heard of that song before.
Yeah, it might be hopefully a little better with the song name.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're going to sing each one for us?
Well, we'll see. I don't know if we have copyright permission for that.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't. So we're just going to have to imagine the song. We can read the lyrics.
We could read the lyrics. Yeah. Okay. So the first one, number 10, is Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah, that I've heard of.
You've heard of?
Yes.
Do you know what the name of their famous song was?
Can't place it, but I know I've heard the band before.
Okay, so there's a famous T-shirt in the 1980s that said "Frankie says relax."
Oh yeah,
because the name of the song is "Relax." Which, Damien, do you know what that song is about?
I remember it was in Zoolander.
It was in Zoolander.
Yeah.
It was also an episode of Friends. Ross was wearing it. Relax.
Just do it, right?
Yeah.
It's about sex. I have no idea.
Well, yes, in a sense. And you're going to bleep this out. It has to do with masturbation.
Oh, that's not. Unless you're Catholic, that's not so bad.
Okay. All right. So, Kajagoogoo, you've not heard of that band, or you think you thought the Goo Goo Dolls?
Yeah, I was thinking.
right?
So, yeah, I realized I was conflating it with something else.
So the name of the song was "Too Shy."
Yeah, I would maybe have to hear it. No, I don't remember that one. What do you remember? You know what year that one was?
It's that's what it sounds like. That was mid 80s, 84,
Okay,
I believe.
all right.
Yeah, okay. So another band called Bow Wow Wow.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So their famous one-hit wonder, number 8 on our chart is "I Want Candy."
Oh
Do
yeah,
you
of
remember
course.
that song?
Yeah, that
Okay.
one. That
Yeah,
one
yeah.
I remember.
Okay.
That was a pretty famous song.
Yeah. So how about Modern English?
Yeah, I have heard of Modern English.
Modern English. Their famous hit was "I Melt with You."
I don't remember that one. They were Australian, right?
Sure. We'll just go with that. They were not American. I know that for sure. Modern
No, I'm going to
English.
guess they were English. British.
And Tony Basil. Nothing.
No.
No, nothing. Okay. So Mickey. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine.
You blow my mind.
Blow
Yeah,
my mind. I'm
that
missing-
of course I know.
yeah,
That was Tony Basil.
Yeah, Tony Basil.
Okay, I did.
Yeah.
Is Tony with an I is like a girl?
Tony with an I.
Okay, that's
Tony
what
with
confused
an
me.
I. Okay.
I was thinking of Tony like a guy, like
Well,
Tony
you're thinking-
Sopranos
Yeah,
kind
you're
of
thinking
style.
Tony Basil. You're
Yeah.
thinking like some sort of Italian dude. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
But that song again, that
Yeah.
song I do know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, these are famous.
Okay.
These are famous songs.
So the next band name is Soft Cell.
Yeah, for the Soft Cell. Yes, I couldn't tell you what song.
Okay, so Soft Cell came out. Our number 5 on our list is Tainted Love.
Oh yeah, Tainted Love. Everybody was that. That's another classic. I mean, these are all obviously big hit songs that we're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because these are the top 10 from the 1980s, but that was the one song that they were known for, right?
Right, yeah, and I know there's a lot of one-hit wonders. We're only going over some of the,
Yeah.
like you said, the top
Yes,
10.
yes, top
There's
10.
a lot, and these are famous songs. You would think that
Yes.
we would heard of other songs from them.
No, that's it.
Which
This
is
it.
wild, yeah.
This is it. And next one, Tommy Two Tone.
Yeah, Time Two Tones I've heard of. Yeah,
Okay, so Tommy Two Tone. The big song was Jenny, which is also known as 8675309.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've gotten that number a lot when I've met girls at bars. I call it, and it just nobody. It's always the wrong number.
So a
Everybody answers it.
little thing that I want to throw out there is, you ever go to the gas station and they ask for some member number and you don't have a membership, whatever. I always do the local area code in 8675309 just to see if I can get 10 cents off of gas.
I bet it works every time too.
It works occasionally.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Yes, exactly. All right, so this is actually one of the biggest hits of the 80s, especially the video. The band is Aha.
Oh yeah, aha, of course.
And
yeah.
it's Take On Me, which is Take On Me, Take Me On.
This was a trivia question a few episodes back.
Yeah, so
I
that
did get
was-
this one.
That was one of the best videos of all time with the cartoon and them walking through the mirror and all this kind of stuff. It was great. All right, so here's one that I know you've heard of, and you could probably actually picture the haircut more than the song itself, which was A Flock of Seagulls.
Oh yeah, those haircuts. Yeah, they got the
Yes.
big swooping haircuts.
Yes, and it was Iran, which is Iran, so far away. Iran.
Were they really a
Iran.
one-hit wonder? Because Flock of Seagulls, I feel like they've done so much more, but that's wild.
The main song
Yeah.
they're known for is Iran, which is
Wild,
was
yeah.
number one on the Billboard Top 10 or whatever. So, and then finally our number one hit wonder from the 1980s, and you've probably heard of the band, maybe, is Dexy's Midnight Runners.
That one I'm not familiar with. What? I'm sure I know the song if it's number one.
And the song is "Come On, Eileen."
Oh yeah, of course. Yes. Everybody's heard that song.
Yes, "Come On, Eileen." And so it's funny. So in my, I guess, real world work, my other job is I'm a teacher, and I've had an Eileen in my class, and I would sing that song, and then I realized this is a very inappropriate song to sing.
I was just gonna say, is the song about song about sex?
Yeah, it's I'm like, okay, I have to stop it. It's just like every time I
This depends how they spell "come." Yes.
See her. Wow. I did not say that. That was you. And actually, it is spelled COME on the official title of the song.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay,
yeah. So I had to stop singing that, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear about that. Of course, there's a lot of different one-hit wonders back in the 80s. Thomas Dolby was "She Blinded Me with Science," which was from Weird Science. Remember that?
Great song too.
It's
a fun song.
Some people consider Devo a one-hit wonder with "Whip It," and stuff like that.
There's a documentary about them that just came out on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet, but I do want to watch that.
Yeah, absolutely. There was "Men Without Hats," which was the safety dance. SAFET,
which is a very strange song if you listen to the lyrics, but I do like it's a fun song to dance to or sing.
A movie that we mentioned a couple episodes ago was "St. Elmo's Fire," Man in Motion, which was done by John Parr. He never really amounted to anything. And then one of my favorite one-hit wonders of all time, Bobby McFerrin, was with "Don't Worry, Be Happy." We've all sung that. We all know that song. But there's a ton. I just gave you the top 10 and a couple of tastes of other ones. But if you remember a great one-hit wonder from the 1980s, we'd love to hear from you. You can hit us up on all the socials and email us at 80showpodcast.com or 80showpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
For our final segment of the episode, we're going to be talking about Magnum P.I. versus Michael Knight from Knight Rider.
Yeah, that's right. So, both were very great shows in the 1980s. Magnum P.I. ran from 1980 to 1988. 158 episodes, which is a lot, actually. And Knight Rider ran from 1982 to 1986, Damien. And so, we both have good memories of watching these episodes, both of these shows back in the day. And it's hard to pick which one we like better because they were both just part of our childhood, part of the pop culture and stuff like that. But let's get to it. Let's a little bit talk about some of the similarities between the two shows and the differences, obviously, but then also what set them apart from other shows at the time.
Right. Yeah. It's when I was younger, I was probably a bigger Knight Rider fan, and as I got older, more Magnum P.I. Plus, growing up, there was also Magnum P.I. had a lot more episodes. I think it was in syndication more, so you could watch the reruns as well. But I do remember as a young kid, it was probably, I guess in 1982, I was still been like 9 years old, watching this with my dad too, and just he liked the Knight Rider show. It was a lot of fun. I think it was fun for adults and for kids. And I just rewatched the pilot episodes of both, and you watched some of the episodes with me. And they were both two-parters, and I really enjoyed both of them. I really, those are two shows I could watch again as an adult and really enjoy.
Yes.
And especially for pilots, because sometimes pilots aren't very good, but they were both very well done. They're both two-parters. Yeah. Very, engaging. And I was like, I really wanted to watch the second part. It didn't, it left me hanging enough to want to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the basic of each pilot is Magnum is investigating the death of his military friend. Magnum P.I. is a Vietnam vet,
I think a former Navy SEAL. Right.
Yeah. So there's a lot throughout the show. There's a lot of flashbacks to Vietnam and his buddies from the military and stuff like that. And he runs, and so. Yeah, so he's investigating his death, and there's a great scene we were just watching earlier where his buddy Rick is literally in a white tuxedo running down the streets of Honolulu shooting an Uzi. Yeah, just pure 80s to me, right?
It's so classic. And what I'd forgotten that Rick in the early seasons ran a disco.
Yes, that's right. He ran a disco before, because it was 1980. So of course it's a disco, and then probably a nightclub after that.
Yeah,
right?
It was right
disco,
in that
right?
bubble of the end of the disco era. Which is pretty funny. And then I'd forgotten some of what the origin of the Knight Rider was. So Michael Knight.
Yeah.
When I first watch it, because when it opens up, you see this guy that looks a little bit like David Hasselhoff, but not quite like David Hasselhoff.
Right.
But it's his voice, clearly, distinctly his voice. And I'm like, man, I guess this was so long ago. I'm like, he would look that young.
Yeah.
But what I had forgotten is basically it opens up with him as a cop and he's investigating, and he gets shot in the face.
Okay.
And he gets plastic surgery, so he doesn't look like his old self, and he's presumed dead, and all this. But what was interesting to me too is it starts off they're investigating something, and they're in a casino. And it's him and another police officer, right. And in like typical 80s fashion, the first person to die is the black cop.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is very typical 80s right there.
And so Michael Knight was known as Michael Young before that, right, the police officer.
Okay. Yeah.
And he just leaves his fellow officer to die in the parking lot while he chases the criminals. And then he goes and gets shot by himself in the face.
Yeah.
But apparently he had a metal plate in his head, so the bullet just bounced off and ricocheted around his face.
Sounds like logical.
Yeah. So of course the millionaire rescues him, and of course he does everything possible to save the white cop, which is Michael Knight.
Wow. Yeah.
And of course they give him a sweet perm. Well, on top of the plastic surgery.
Awesome. I mean, really, Damien, this is two shows that are juxtaposed. You put them together, and it's really basically the stash versus the perm, right?
Exactly.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Who has the better hair? Like, is it the mustache? Yeah. Is it Tom Selleck's mustache, Magnum's mustache, or is it Michael Knight's sweet hair? Because that hair was pretty sweet. It was like permed and feathered at the same time somehow.
Both of them. Like, I look at David Hasselhoff's hair at that time. I look at Tom Selleck's mustache. I'm jealous of both. I'll be honest with you. At this point in my age, like, I am jealous of both. I can't do it.
Yeah,
either one.
I've grown a mustache a few times in my life, like for Movember. If you've heard of Movember, where guys grow mustache up with prostate cancer awareness and raising weight for prostates. I look really creepy with a mustache. I mean, I can grow facial hair, but I look really creepy with a mustache.
Yeah, just with the mustache. That's it.
Well, extra creepy. Maybe it's extra creepy with the mustache.
I just gonna throw it out
extra
there.
Creepy,
So, So he, Tom Selleck's mustache alone, probably had higher ratings than most shows on CBS at the time, right?
Yeah, I think his stash solved the crimes. I don't even think he just.
I think it's true.
He was just there.
And of course,
we're going to talk about the cars.
Yeah, they both have some awesome cars, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the Knight Rider revolves more around the car.
Yes.
But, Magnum P.I., even in the early episode, in the pilot, his basically starts off with him, quote unquote, stealing the car. He's not really stealing; it's like a security check for
Robin Masters.
Yeah, Robin Masters, the millionaire, which we would consider billionaires these days. That's how wealthy they are. So the Ferrari plays a big role in that, and then Tom Selleck is pissed off because nobody believes it's his car. He's like, everywhere he drives, people know him, which is funny because that's not his car. But he gets upset. I was like, why don't you believe it's my car? So that Ferrari 308 GTS, that bright red Ferrari, I mean, that's a classic, beautiful Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I'll say Michael Knight's car isn't as cool looking. It's, at the time, Pontiac Firebird Trans Ams were pretty hot. They were cool, but it's not a Ferrari.
But here's the deal. Did the red Ferrari have kit in the car?
That's the difference.
That's the difference, right? And did it have that cool
exactly
thing going on, right?
And kit was basically indestructible too. They had some kind of technology.
Molecular. We just watched the pilot episode. It was like some sort of molecular technology of protecting it from whatever. So.
I love the early '80s trying to explain technology that didn't exist at the time. It even took place in the they did I think it was the second part of the pilot where they went to Silicon Valley, right? When it was early days of computers.
Yes.
And Silicon Valley was like a hick town. It was so funny.
Yes. And the funny part is, both of those cars were not owned by either Michael Knight or Magnum P.I.
We have a deal. I get unlimited use of the Ferrari.
They're owned by their benefactors.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is when Michael Knight first sits inside a Kit, right? He gets into the Trans Am, and he looks around because it's a cockpit, right? And he says, "This is the funniest thing."
What's all this? Looks like Darth Vader's bathroom.
That was his quote there.
I can see that. Totally.
But what would you rather drive? Obviously the Ferrari
tough.
over the Firebird, but then you throw in Kit, who can? It's an AI can drive for itself.
So
it's
Siri before Siri, right?
Yeah.
Like Kit is Siri before Siri, and I'll be honest, that's a really hard decision, right?
Yeah.
Because the Ferrari's a Ferrari, right? It's awesome, and
it's gonna get the looks.
Kit was cool. It had that turbo boost, so you can apparently, if you push it, you can fly over semi trucks that are blocking the road and stuff like that.
Yeah, it had smoke screens, oil slicks, whatever, had all kinds
anything
of things.
in an 80s video game, right? Like it had it all.
Yeah, and a cool British accent.
Yeah, and a cool British accent. So the thing is, though, like sometimes Kit was a little like, in a British term, cheeky.
I wouldn't touch that line with a 10-foot drive shaft.
Oh, what's that supposed to mean?
Merely that you always seem to use our assignments as convenient springboards for your social life.
He was a little bit sarcastic, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, he was cool but funny, but he also was always like ribbing Michael Knight, and I don't know if I would appreciate that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'd like that. I don't know, David. What about you?
Yeah, what could go wrong with AI running everything? We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, overall, I love the look and the feel of a Ferrari and the way it drives, but it's also tough to like, hey, you could take a nap and in Kit and just like he'll drive for you.
Yeah,
it's the autonomous vehicle. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really tough one. I would. I mean, the looks of the Trans Am now are very dated, right?
Yeah,
but the Ferrari still looks cool.
Yeah, but the other thing that Kit could do would like kind of be the ultimate wingman, right? Like, you go to the bar and he's off the side like, hey, ladies, come on over. And then you walk out like, Davey, that'd be great for you, man. That'd be great.
Yeah, as a single guy, man, that wouldn't be a bad day. He could start talking to ladies for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Kid, go to manual. We're stopping.
Really? Why? Is there a young lady in the vicinity?
I think also if you pulled up with a Ferrari, they would also come to the car.
That works too. Yeah, I had a friend. We actually had a friend that had a Lamborghini, and that worked as well. Yeah, that did the trick.
That actually did the trick. Yeah, for sure. So as far as the style goes for both Michael Knight and Thomas Magnum, like it was very different styles, right, Damien?
Right. Yeah.
So you had. Magnum P.I., obviously, it was not obviously, people don't know. It took place in Hawaii. And so he had the Hawaiian shirt. And we were just watching some episodes. Those shorts, Damien,
pretty
shorts. Damn short.
They're like Daisy Dukes, man.
Yeah, they were pretty damn short. And so.
Reminds me of the Rocky montage with him and Apollo Creed running on the beach.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like, yeah. And so. And
definitely see the outline of, Tom Selleck stuff, his junk.
Something. Yes, of something there. Yeah, there was something there for sure. Michael Knight was always wearing that stupid. I shouldn't say stupid, but I think stupid because we just watched an episode there in Vegas. It's a desert. He's wearing a black leather jacket.
Yeah, that's perfect for desert climates.
It's just perfect. Yeah. A couple years ago, I actually had the Magnum P.I. Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, nice.
For Halloween or whatever.
Did you wear it with the short shorts?
I did not wear it with the short shorts. However, I had to borrow a mustache for the mustache because I couldn't grow one as great as Tom
How do you
Selleck.
Borrow a mustache?
Well, sorry,
You bought one? Okay.
I borrowed one off an old man. So don't
Just
worry
shaved
about
right
it. Don't
off.
worry about it.
Just
Don't worry about him.
Skinned him right.
He was asleep. Don't worry about it.
So where would you rather, just bug my clothes, because obviously this is part of the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Where would you rather live? Obviously, so you've got this beautiful estate in Hawaii, even though he doesn't own it. He's living in the guest house, so it's still pretty nice. In this gorgeous estate in Hawaii, or living basically in a Trans Am or in a tractor trailer. I'm not really sure where Michael Knight lived.
Where would I rather live? Let's see, a nice estate in Hawaii or in a trailer. Tough one. I mean, I've lived in pretty crappy places before in the past. So I'm gonna say the nice place in Hawaii, Damien.
Yeah, right. I would agree with that too. And again, like he's got, especially Robert Masters always has the ladies coming over, or
yes,
or Thomas Magnum has the ladies coming over. And in the first in the pilot, the first episode, he was skinny dipping with some ladies in the lagoon, which is on the property there. Yes. So I got to say that probably beats living inside of it. Again, wherever the heck Michael Knight lived.
I mean, I don't think you can get like a pool inside the trailer to get some Swedish flight attendants into the in there or whatever. So, yeah, for sure.
Well, speaking of that, and you just talked about wingmen, right? So, who is a better wingman? Would it be Kit or would it be Higgins?
So that's tough. So there's always been a controversy about Higgins going back to Magnum P.I, which I loved. So there was always like who. They never say who Robin Masters is, and there's like an intonation that it might be Higgins, right?
Oh, right.
Higgins is Robin Masters, but it's kind of left in the open, who it is. I would say I actually think the best wingman would actually be Kit. Higgins seemed uptight.
Don't ruin my whiskey with ice. I'm not a bloody American.
He was always mad at Magnum. He was always like, hey, why are you bringing your friends over? TC had a helicopter would land on the property, and he'd get pissed off at TC for doing that. But Higgins was, but Kit, who was a little sarcastic AI, persona or whatever. But
he always had Michael Knight's best interests at heart.
Yeah. Higgins was always against. So as far as wingman goes, I think Kit. What about you?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you look at maybe like TC or Rick, they would be a good wingman, But yeah, I would have to say Kit, even overall, would be the best wingman just for the uniqueness.
Michael is indisposed.
That means he's either with the young lady or he's in jail.
And he's not going to try and steal your woman either, right? Because he's a computer.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
Who knows?
Although I have heard about people dating AI, have AI boyfriends or girlfriends now.
Yes.
So
that is so weird, Damien.
It's very strange
too. It's very strange. So, as far as so
let's talk about their friend. Their overall. So we're talking about wingman, but they're friends. So Magnum. Right, he's got a good group of friends, right? So he's got his military buddies, like from Vietnam, TC and Rick, and then some ancillary characters that will come on as guest stars. But those are his hardcore friends, and I think Higgins would be considered one of his friends too,
and
especially towards the later seasons.
Hey, Rick owned a disco. I mean, what more could you want?
I mean, TC owned a helicopter company.
Yes, exactly. And so like those are good friends to have, right, Damien?
Yeah.
Like
what was it, Island Hoppers? I think it was TC owned.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't go up if there wasn't anything really wrong, right? Well, Thomas, you got to test these things in the air sometime.
Yeah. And Michael Knight was, he had all these friends too, right? Like he would. Oh wait.
Yeah, he was more of a lone wolf. We go back to he was considered dead. So his original Michael Young was killed again. It's a little bit kind of weak on the whole thing, like why he had to stay Michael Knight. Supposedly, if some people recognize him, they could kill him, but whatever. But he went from there on out as Michael Knight, so his previous life was gone. So who did he have as friends after that?
I'm not just AI, which was Kit, right?
Yeah, and that old curmudgeon British guy, it was Devin Miles, is a little bit even more uptight than Higgins, believe it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And
and then you had some other characters that come in from here on the show, but those were his closest friends. He didn't really have a home base, and he was always moving on from one mission to the next.
Yes.
So he lived a little bit of a lonely life. Yeah.
I mean, his buddy was Kit.
Yeah.
Apparently, like you said earlier, like AI has been friends for people and stuff like that. So
yeah, hey, at least AI is not going to die and leave you, all right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or get mad and leave you.
So really, if we're talking about between the two of them, right, it's really a battle between a man and a mustache and a man and his car, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the battle right there. And they were both like had the very iconic characters, Magnum P.I with the mustache, David Hasselhoff Tom Selleck with the stash, and David Hasselhoff with the hair. I mean, they're both very when you think of the 80s, you think of those two guys, right?
Yeah, I would say I think David Hasselhoff would even have to say Magnum P.I.'s lifestyle he appreciated more because he ended up going to Hawaii for Baywatch for many years.
That's true.
So yeah, he ended up there as well because I'm pretty sure it filmed in Bay. It's supposed to be Malibu, but I think they filmed it in Hawaii, didn't they? Or something like that.
So
at least on the beach. Whatever.
Somewhere on the beach. I don't think it was in California, but so the verdict is they were both peak 80s, right? They both peak 80s show. They were flashy. They were a little bit ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
A little bit.
That's how 80s camping is.
Yeah. But they were entertaining. Both of them were super entertaining. And here's the thing. Here's the one regret, not regret, but the one thing that I wish had happened is, Magnum P.I. was on CBS. Knight Rider was on NBC. Right. But could you have imagined a crossover of Magnum P.I. with Kit, Michael Knight with the Ferrari? Like, that would have been freaking awesome, right?
That's the reboot we need right there.
Yes.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Oh, just would have been, yeah. Magnum P.I. and Michael Knight meet up, and I'm not sure which car they drive, but like that would just have been awesome. But too bad that it didn't happen back in the day.
So maybe like Fast and Furious 11, maybe that's what they should do right there.
Is it 11? I think it might be 13 or 14 right now, but who knows?
I think the next one's back in space. We'll find out.
Exactly. So both great shows, Knight Rider, Magnum P.I., fantastic 80s shows. We both loved them both back in the day and stuff, and actually rewatching some of the episodes, I'm like, I can see why I liked it back in the day.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely rewatch. Just gonna start watching some of those in the background, and so you can right now you can stream Knight Rider on I think it's Roku. They have a free version with ads. And then if you just Google search Magnum P.I., there's some links there you can find. You can pay for it, or there's some free sites out there. You just gotta Google it.
So one last little tidbit. One time I was traveling internationally, and I had like a 18-hour layover in Amsterdam, and it was the middle of the night, and I could not sleep. I was in my hotel. The only show that was on the TV was Magnum P.I., but it was in Dutch. And I sat there. I couldn't sleep, and I sat there and watched Magnum P.I. in Dutch, and I could follow along what was going on and stuff. And so, still stands up.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I knew the Germans loved David Hasselhoff, but I didn't know about the Dutch.
Yeah, the Dutch love Tom Selleck. Dutch loves Tom Selleck. Yeah,
he loves himself a good mustache. Yeah,
it was definitely.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah, so the Germans love David Hasselhoff, and then
for sure. Oh, and everybody loves Tom Selleck's mustache.
Yeah,
so.
They had great acting careers too. I mean, I think I know Tom Selleck's still doing that Blue Blood show, but still he's working for a long time.
Do you know what Tom Selleck's best movie was?
It would be Lassiter.
Yes, it was Lassiter.
I almost said Quigley Down Under, but then
Lassiter. Lassiter was his best movie.
Yes,
check that out.
Yes, thank you, Bill Lassiter, for that one.
Yes. So anyway, we'd love to hear from you about what your what do you think about Michael Knight versus Magnum P.I. or Knight Rider versus Magnum P.I. We'd love to hear your comments.
Bill, this has been a great episode. I've had a lot of fun talking about the Coreys, the one-hit wonders, and Magnum P.I. versus Michael Knight.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do we have coming up for our next episode?
All right, so going into the Halloween season, we are going to get a little bit spooky for our next two episodes. Coming up next episode, we're going to talk about the 1980s movie classic Poltergeist. Remember Poltergeist, Damien?
Although not a classic horror film, it was a scary movie, especially when you're our age, very young watching it. Yeah,
absolutely.
And after that, we're going to be talking about a couple more fun spooky movies, Ghostbusters versus Beetlejuice.
Yeah, those are fun. Those are great fun movies. And we're going to round out with classic 1980s toys, which is the Ouija board, which we both played with when we were younger, right?
Yeah, we're going to use the word toy very loosely for this one. I don't know that was really a toy. We're going to talk about some of the spooky experiences, at least I had using one of these, and I'm going to try and get some my cousin and some other people on there to tell the stories in one of the episodes as well.
Yeah, so I think it's Okay, I think it's BS, but that's fine. We'll talk to.
Well, listen to their stories, and we'll find out.
Right,
Stay tuned.
Dun, dun, dun. And so finally, we're gonna wrap it up with. Oh crap, Damien, the fax machine once again.
So again, I knew I unplugged this. With Halloween coming up, I think it just plugged itself right back in.
Yeah, I think it might be the Ouija board doing some damage here.
Or the gremlins in the machine.
Might be. So,
did you feed them after midnight?
I did not beat the fax machine after midnight. Okay, so Photomat is apparently no longer in business. So they closed in 2009, Damien.
Wait, so where are people going to drop off their Kodak disc film when you need to get it developed quickly?
Yeah, I don't think anybody needs that anymore. I know Costco used to be a good place to drop your film off, and I have not seen a film drop off. That should have been my first clue that Photomat was not going to be a good sponsor for us, Damien.
Yeah, well, especially the fact they're not in business, probably, but it should have been a better sign for us.
True.
But hey, we're at least consistent here. At A's
absolutely,
Show Podcast.
absolutely. Yeah. We get sponsors and we lose them that week. So if you are a business that would love to sponsor us here in the 80 Show Podcast, we would love to take your money. I guess.
Hey, just write us a check. We don't even have to sponsor. We don't have to run a commercial. Just write us a check. It'd be great.
Yeah. Because checks are, what people do now is send money through checks.
That's not how you pay for your groceries at the grocery store anymore?
Not anymore. And, of course, we would love to hear from you. You can rate us wherever you listen to this podcast. We'd love to hear, we'd love to have 5 stars on, wherever you get this podcast.
And that really helps us out. It helps other people find the podcast. The algorithms, again, I don't know what that means, but that's what it says. If you rate us 5 stars, other people can find us. They can search for us and find the best 80s content on the internet.
Yes, which is us, right, Damien?
Oh, yeah. Also our podcast you can find as well. Yes.
For sure. So, and you can always interact with us on social media, which is 80 Show Podcast at all the socials. You can also email us at 80showpodcast@gmail.com, and you can find our website at 80s.show.
Yeah, thank you for listening. I'm Damien Raffelli, and in the words of Corey Feldman, Les, that license in your wallet, that's not an ordinary piece of paper. That's a driver's license. And it's not only a driver's license, it's an automobile license. And it's not only an automobile license, it's a license to live, a license to be free, a license to go wherever, whenever, and with whomever you choose.
That's right. And I'm Bill Lassiter. Take on me, take me on.
Theme song composed by my good friend, fellow rock star, straight out of Bakersfield. You may also know him from the band Videodrone, Mark Russell Davis.